Hey, what's up? I'm back. I told you I'd be having muesli. There's no way under heaven that I'm gonna let myself go weak and fall apart just because I'm suffering, you know what I mean? Just because I need to lose weight. Suga. Delicious. Second part. In the previous part, I'm having that and some fruit. If I it will at least leave room for. See, the sun has set now. It'll make me eat less dinner. Yeah, but I can't let myself exercise with barely any food. This guy at Wits, right, that was pursuing me. Please go check out the previous part, right, to understand what we're talking about, to gauge your bearings and stuff like that. I was talking about the fact that men insist on respect and loyalty more than they do on reciprocated love from a woman, and Christ is the one that uproots out of them once they turn their lives over to Jesus. The desire for just loyalty and respect without a woman really being truly happy to a point of pursuing her violently without really truly doting over her, but just trying to lord it over her with an iron fist to make her love you, make her want be with you, not so much love you, because they trust that women are highly unlikely gonna cheat in an ecosystem. So just don't go out on me and disrespect me as a man and have other men laugh at me in these streets, but you don't gotta love me. Whoa, okay, very well. This guy, when I was at Wits, would pursue, like, the first day that he met me, I wasn't even responding to him. I was telling him to leave me alone, and he was following me around, and he'd be like, so what subjects do you do? What are you studying? And I wouldn't even tell him because I wasn't trying to linger him on a conversation, for crying out loud, right? It's really hard to eat muesli while talking, but anyway, I was trying to get him this guy, right? And then he went and tabulated all of his statistics all up in my grill. I'm like, he's like, what are you studying? I'm like, leave me alone, like, it doesn't matter, just pumagim. And he was like, well, I am doing a BSc in financial mathematics. I could take care of you. One day I'm gonna make a whole bunch of money. I'm gonna be rich, don't you see? I'm in third year, and next year I've already been accepted into honors. I'm doing well, and I'm gonna get my first job next year, interning at a company. I'm here on scholarship, meaning that I did so well that my parents' money has been saved. Somebody else is paying for my fees. A company is paying for my fees. So you're basically turning down right now somebody that's gonna take good care of you. You're still in first year, right? Well, I'm gonna be doing honors next year while working. I'll pay for everything. I'll give you lunch money. I'll give you whatever you need. Like, your parents can relax. They can save money. If you let me come in, they can save money. They don't have to give you taxi fare. They don't have to give you anything. Put you on top of that. Next year, as soon as I'm working, I'm gonna get a car, so I'll drive you home. You won't need to, Yazi, the stats, like, this guy was just throwing stats all up in my grill. He even told me that he can show me his academic transcript if I don't believe him. In other words, basically, the fact that he's not just a financial mathematics student, but one that is doing really well. As in, opasagadi 80, kadi 90. And so, proper, I have no business rejecting him. Yazi, this is Oki. I could not for the life of me believe that he was trying to get me to be with him based on what he was throwing around statistically. I could not believe that men like that actually exist. Like, guys that will shalla you literally throwing money all up in your grill without actually trying to, love you, without actually trying to convince you that they are lovable. I don't know, like, you try to spark interest in you for them. That is genuine. For the life of me, I couldn't believe it. This guy's out here telling me that he's in third year. Next year he's doing honors. He's gonna graduate almost practically magna cum laude. And all I could think was, how is such a genius, such an intelligent man, so dumb? How is such a genius so dumb? Like, proper, why haven't you gotten basic things? Like, you are emotionally and spiritually very immature. How under heaven are you? Maybe as that guy. Maybe when he was growing up, he was so rejected by women that when he entered into Wits on scholarship, the little girls in his town were like, woo! Utaba Oya Jersey. I don't know. Like, cause he literally whipped out a whole marketing plan. A whole like financial model. Showing me even like net present values and everything. Of the fact that fine, this little project that you're looking at right now might be nothing. Right? It might be nothing today. But only look at the future. Forecasted 5 years and I'm going to be rolling in dough, baby. Like, we'll give him that name. He was like the beginning of a concept in corporate. Not even so much of a project. Before a project is considered viable to take on, you know, there are all different kinds of financial exercises that must be performed to gauge the feasibility financially of this project. How much is it going to cost? How much do we foresee it's going to make? And so based on certain projections, you then either run with it or don't. Yeah, this dude done hooked up a hard knock, conceptual, a whole substantiation, or what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, you know, when you want to, 1 minute, when you want to make a case for taking on a project, and you do all different kinds of mathematical gymnastics to the project sponsor to convince him to finance the project. That dude was doing that. To a woman, yeah, that was never pulled by the nose cachalete. It's never been me. He was making that case to a woman that by then had never dated a guy that had his own apartment, had never dated a guy that had his own car, had never dated a guy that even had a driver's license, had never dated a guy who bachelored her, gave her money. I had never been that girl. I'd never been in the, you know, the whole experience of passenger seat. I don't know it. I don't know it. I've never known that. I'm a chocolate girl. Chocolate by any guy. I've never sat in the passenger seat of a guy's car. I promise you right now, I have never done that before I got my own car. All the guys that I dated prior to me getting my own car did not have cars. I taught my ex-boyfriend how to drive. And only once he got his own car did I then sit in the passenger seat of his car, but as a woman that had her own car. So long story short, I've never been a gold digger. I've never been the kind of woman to pass up a guy because I get a money. I've always, like when I was growing up, I used to combat with my boyfriend. I used to like sneak in to his house because he didn't have his own apartment. Like proper, well into my 20s. Even when I was old enough. Because, you know, like teenage girls out here be getting judged for rolling around with guys that drive cars. Like, even when I was old enough to be with a guy that drove a car, I've never been with one. Like, my ex-boyfriend of 5 years was the one that I taught how to drive. So, before then, everybody was too serious. Everybody was walking. Everybody was comparing a pre. Everybody, I mean, remember, before I got my car, there was a time when I was in a taxi with my ex-boyfriend. Sick, I was vomiting. And I was lying on his lap, freaking out that the taxi driver is going to kick us out because I'm busy, I'm sick, I was vomiting. And I remember sitting before when he was the one comparing, while I was sitting on the pavement on the floor, unable to stand up straight. The way Nohosna Karagateng Umuntu mega kibela ma taxi nemedi ekula. Guys, I've never been a passenger. Petumtano yera soka ke bambona kirutsiko passenger seat ki pupile drinking some sweet alcohol. I've never been that girl. But this Okie didn't know that, alright? So a guy could never ever pursue me with money. I always expected a guy to actually put his game on. Like, charm the living daylights out of me, for crying out loud. Let me find you swaggerfied. Let me find you cute, for crying out loud. Let me think you got game. Let me think you got skill. Let me think what cars are. Hey man, cars are like, you better causerize me. You better say things. I'll give you an example. What made me fall for my ex-boyfriend, right? The one over 5 years, how I ended up dating him. He had we went to lunch, me and my girls, dinner, more like dinner, go News Cafe, go Santon. Actually, the story with my ex is the perfect one to use. Remember earlier I said that there's a difference between a guy that you don't like back when he initially pursues you, but then he does something that changes your mind. And you're like, okay, fine, I'll roll with you type thing. So he changes your mind. He makes you see that, I can roll with that. Versus a guy, he disgusts you. He grosses you out. But then he insists on being with you because he can pay your way. Two different things. My ex-boyfriend was the latter, who initially mengamfuni, but then he convinced me. And so I was like, okay, I'll roll with that, what type thing. I met him. I was at my girls and I, a whole bunch of us, in a local news cafe, having dinner prior to the days of every last one of us having a vehicle. So we were getting picked up. My cousin, her boyfriend, was picking us up, me and my cousin, and then the rest of them were getting picked up by some other guys, right? But it was like a girls' night out type thing. And my cousin's boyfriend rocked up with my would-be boyfriend. All right, at the time I was dating some other guy, some closet homosexual. I will put that out there. I was not in love with the homosexual. He was in the closet in the West Way. He was more like my friend than my boyfriend, but we used to, whatever. Again, stories for another day. When you just want to be in a relationship and you let a guy into actually, I bet you I'm calm, even though I'm suspect. Anyway, whatever, yeah. I was with a guy like that, so I knew that I needed to get out at some point, but he was keeping me company. I wasn't bored with him. I didn't hate him. He was just, I was not in love. Yeah, and he was also poverty-stricken. One of those houses that don't have a bathroom and a toilet inside. You gotta go use the ladies. You gotta go and pee outside. That guy used to live for room. So this pursuit by right now, trying to use that to convince me, it's like I've never been that girl. If living in a house all gentrified and in the suburbs, I could date a dude for room. It means even today, these guys don't stand a chance. I've never been that girl. Allow me to just put that out there, right? I don't know, maybe it's genetic angazi, but some women are just not wired and just fell out to sniff out after money. There are women who actually are chasing after a pipe dream. They actually want love. They are those naive randos that can live in a shack and love a man. And I used to be like that. So but just because I started making money and I was successful does not mean that I suddenly stopped expecting love. And thanks to being like that, I was never subjugated to the tyranny of dating guys that were such prolific players that I did not know where that was coming or going. I only heard horror stories in the wilderness about such women, but I was never among those girls. I've never dated a guy that was all over the show to a point where I was in danger, except for one dude. And even that one dude, the only reason I even ended up dating him was because I was playing around with him knowing that he's a player, and then I mistakenly fell in love, and so I stayed with him, but not for two. He pulled one stunt and I eventually got out of that, but otherwise Self also didn't have a car. He was also living at home with his parents. He was just really hella charming, and so he prospered to win me over type thing. But I've never been given a salary and allowance by a guy ever. It's just this guy from the US was the first guy in my life ever. I promise you, and I was already 37. It took me getting to the age of 37 guys. Please, respect nje. Please, can we just do that, guys? More lifing. Anyway, I was wondering, so my ex, before how we met, how I ended up dating him, comes to my ex, my cousin's boyfriend comes to pick us up at the news cafe. All right. My cousin's boyfriend comes to pick us up at the news cafe. This lipstick is getting all over my hands. Comes to pick us up at the news cafe, but he comes with this guy, with my ex-boyfriend. They're friends. Type establishment thing, and they were already somewhere where meziwa, angazi, whatever. It was all happening. It was happening somewhere. These Gen Zs call it lit. It was lit. They came from somewhere where it was lit. So he came with one of his boys, and one of his boys was the boy that would end up being my man type thing, right? On some kape, I gotta go pick up my girl from wherever. I gotta go pick up my girl from Santon. She's having dinner with her girls. So this guy's like, okay, sharp. My ex is like, okay, sharp. So he accompanies my cousin's boyfriend to come and pick up his girlfriend. And while I'm traveling in the same vehicle with them, right? And initially, before it wasn't just a pickup, they chilled with us for a minute. Like the ladies, they found us there and they were like, ladies, hi, how's it going? What's going on? And they picked food off our plates and they sat down, right? And so basically he was at some point around an entourage of something like 10 or 11 women. Like 11 women were at that round table having dinner at the news cafe. And my ex was looking at me the whole time, and that I felt flattered by that, but I was like, I don't like him type thing. He was looking at me and I was like, whoa, out of all of these fly ladies, these fly mommies, you've chosen me. Whoa, how special. He was eyeing me. Lo and behold, when it's time now to go home, he then also got a surprise shock of his life that, oh, she's coming in the car with us because she's the cousin of my boys, right? So I go in the car, and because he's a decent gentleman, my cousin was one of those passenger seat. So she was in the passenger seat of her man's car. And so therefore this guy had to move back, being decent, and sit at the back with me. Because now Mary was here, so you don't get to sit in front and make the two girls sit at the back. So he sat at the back seat with me. Music is pumping, random whatever lackluster conversation is being had. He introduces me to himself. Look, I had already met him at the news cafe type thing, but then he starts to like spark up like conversation with me as I'm sitting back there, you know, and I'm humoring him because, you know, it's rude not to type thing. And I'm like, I work at this thing. I work at Telly Show. Where was I at the time? Nedbank. I work at Nedbank in Bromfontein type thing at the call center there. He's like, oh, no way, get out. I also work at Liberty Life. It's like the same neighborhood type thing. I was like, oh, really? Oh, my uncle works there. Who's your uncle? ABC. Oh, no, snap, I know your uncle. Your uncle, you mean her dad? I'm like, yeah. My uncle, indeed, my cousin's dad. I'm like, yeah. Her dad works at Liberty Life. And my family has got like a whole history at Liberty Life. Like we've, you know, every one of us has worked there before we end up somewhere else type thing. So it's like a family business now, you know, and we laugh and say, ho, 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 ho. So how long have you been working at Liberty Life? No, this long, and you at Nedbank? No, this long. Oh, it's weird that we haven't seen each other around, but anyway, maybe we'll start seeing each other around. I was like, ha 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 ha, funny type thing. Anyway, so we were able to spark up a conversation. And then he tells me that he stays in what's that neighborhood that my ex stayed in? Yeah, that neighborhood. He's like, I live in this particular neighborhood. I'm like, oh, so where did you go to high school then? I realized that he lived in a neighborhood in the south of Johannesburg. And that's where I grew up, and that's also where I went to school. So the first automatic question that came to the top of my mind was, what school do you go to? What high school did you go to? If at all you live in this neighborhood, did you perhaps go to a high school in the hood, in the vicinity? And he's like, yeah, I went to Mondio High. I was like, get out of town. Do you know ABCDPQRSTUVWXYZ? Hashtag squiggly. The next door neighbor minus cousin twice removed and whatnot from that other street, like proper. I was naming people. I didn't go to Mondio. But I knew a lot of people who did. Like I knew my friends from primary school who went to Mondio. I was like, do you know about it? Do you know this? Do you know that? Do you know this? Do you know that? And he was like, well, from where? What does she look like? Yeah, maybe. But then he didn't know all of them because my ex was 4 years older than me. So when we were in grade 8, he was in matric. So he didn't really know all of my girls. But I was like, do you know this? Do you know that? Do you know anywhere? And then of course after asking him what high school he went to, he was like, and you, what high school did you go to? And I'm like, I went to Sir John Adamson. Oh no, please, speech lag, don't mess with me. I like my stories. I've got speech lag challenges right now. So after asking him what school he went to, he then is like, where did you go to school? I'm like, I went to Sir John Adamson. He's like, oh, whoa, no, wow, okay, wow, that's interesting. From what year? I told him that's when I told him my age. I was like, in grade 8, from 1998 until 2002. He was like, oh, okay. I would have been in matric when you first started out. I was like, oh, okay. Well, do you know my sister? And he knew my sister, my older sister. I was like, do you know my sister? He's like, yeah, I know your sister. Oh, so you're this girl. Let's say my sister's name is Pinky. Oh, so you're Pinky's younger sister. I didn't even know Pinky had a sister. We used to party together and whatnot. I was like, yeah, I'm Pinky's sister. Type thing. He's like, oh, whoa, what a small world. So we basically hit it off in terms of a conversation, but I still didn't like him because I thought there was something about him that was, I will come to explain to you later when I tell you what my cousin said. Something about him was off, and that was the reason why. Mara, he was kind, he was very sweet, he was a nice dude. We had a conversation, we had a lot in common, we grew up in the same more or less neighborhood, knew more or less the same people type thing. He had never crossed paths for whatever reason when we were on the come up, but one of the biggest reasons I imagine we never crossed paths was likely because Nekisa Pape, I wasn't all over the show. Nekisa spreading my body around all of the south of Johannesburg to a point where I would be known, right? I was a relatively kept together kid, Nekile in a bunch type thing. So Nekisa Pape, Nekisa stratmate, that's yeah. So he wouldn't know me. Otherwise, he might have known me. My cousin, however, did know him because she was heavy. She was hectic. She was all over. She remembers him from back in the day. My cousin, Naturina. So Namo Tseb. Hey. No. Oh my God, right. Okay. They then got into a fight at some party. I was like, they will go there to do something. I can't even write down. Were they picking up a guy or what? And first, my cousin's boyfriend to go and deal with this fight at some complex where some kids, we were all kids, I guess, were having a brawl. And then my cousin and I were like, hey, but these guys are having a fight. What's going on? And then my ex came, well, he wasn't at the time my boyfriend. The guy that would ultimately be my boyfriend comes back and he's like, hey, they're about to break out into a fight and I'm not interested. And I was like, oh, so at least you're not violent. Anyway, whatever, right? Fine, he gets dropped off at home. My ex, right? First, because we're now in his neighborhood. Where the fight was happening was in his neighborhood. He gets dropped off Kohabona. We drop him off and then my cousin's boyfriend takes me home and then the two of them go back to wherever they were going. I was living in this hood type establishment thing. Next day my cousin calls me on some girl. You don't have to know that girl loves you. Girl, I'm kidding. Okay, there was no song, but like she calls me. She's like, girl, let's say my ex's name was Cabello. She's like, girl, Cabello is feeling you. Cabello likes you. He has a crush on you. He thinks you're the cutest, you're the baddest. I'm like, oh, really? I could tell. But I'm not interested in him because something about him looks criminal. Like, that's what I told my friend, my cousin. I was like, unale something in a little girl. I'm like, something about him is ginsery. Okay. I'm like, something about this guy's ginsery. And she's like, yeah, I agree. Something about him is ginsery. But before, I mentioned that I felt like something about him was a little bit of like he had a criminal, something just gave off dishonest, okay? It was my gut feeling. Before I said that and she agreed with me. She was like, if I was not with my man, I'd date him. So my cousin low-key sort of kind of influenced me to look at him differently. She was like, if I was with him, if I was not with my man, I would date him type thing. So I was like, that's your choice. I don't want to be with a guy that's kind of ginsery type thing. Anyway, I let it go. She relayed the message back to him and he was like, oh snap, well that kind of sucks, but anyway, let's see, come on. Like, yeah, I told him that I have a boyfriend, right? I told my cousin to tell him that I have a boyfriend. My cousin knew I had a boyfriend. That was a closet homosexual, but anyway, that was not a real excuse because I wanted to leave that guy for somebody else due to the fact that he was obviously gay. Like, it was so clear. Anyway, whatever. But I used him as an excuse. And then this guy told my cousin, when my cousin told him that I've got a boyfriend, he was like, well, he was like, tell your cousin to give me a chance to convince her to leave him for me. And when my cousin brought back that message, I was so flattered, guys. Like, I was so flattered. I got so giddy. My goodness. I was like, what? This guy wants me he wants to contact me so he can convince me to dump my boyfriend what to convince the guy. I was so flattered. Like, I initially didn't want him. But then he said stuff like he basically moved me into a zone where I was like, okay, fine. Like, I'll give him a chance. I found these little sneaky ghetto tactics really very attractive. I don't know. First, it was him saying that give your cousin my number to call me so I can convince her to basically leave that guy for me. And when he said that, I was like, ain't nobody ever said that to me. I got giddy, but I let it go. Alright? And then when my phone got lost, very entry-level boring phone, got lost. I don't know what happened to it. Like, when you party, sometimes phones go missing. Yeah, so my phone went missing, and this guy was still asking about me. I'm still in a relationship with a closet homosexual. Alright? And I would leave him any day. If at all a guy rocked up and convinced me, you know, that hey, this is it, because I wanted to be with a real man, not a somizi that's gonna put a baby in my stomach, and next thing, years down the line, I'm co-parenting like I'm Palesa. I'm sorry, right? Yeah, type thing. So I was prepared to leave this gay guy, and I was gonna leave this gay guy, but I was in a I just wanted to be with someone. Plus, I didn't hate this gay guy. He was a friend of mine. We were close, but there was no love because he was obviously in the closet. Like, it was so clear. So for me, it was like, I'm not gonna leave my friend, you know, that I'm always spending my time with on the weekends, that keeps me busy. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. I don't severely dislike him. I don't find him disgusting. I just find him gay. So I'm gonna hang out with my gay man every weekend. I needed, however, I was in a time in my life where I had to be in a relationship. Like, I just had to be in one. I don't know if you would understand what I'm talking about as a woman. Like, when you don't grow up validated or secure in yourself as a woman, and when you don't grow up with the right kind of counsel, advice, you feel once you start dating as a teenage girl going into your 20s that you basically need a guy to feel complete or whole or whatever, such that you cannot be single. From the moment I had my first boyfriend, I could not be single. I never had breaks between boyfriends. Like, it just never happened. I struggled with singlehood until Jesus enabled me for the first time in my life to be single. It's now, 12 years? But before I dated the first guy I ever dated as a Christian, I was single for 2 years, and I was never able to do that before because I always felt like I had to have a man. I could not leave this gay guy because what am I gonna do? Like, what's gonna happen with me when I don't have a man? Type establishment thing. And this guy, this ex of mine, was basically saying, Swamo and come here then. Swamo and come here. And that's exactly what happened. 1 minute. Anyhow. Alrighty, so my ex-boyfriend is trying to convince me to come through. He's still asking about me. Do you understand? And then my phone gets lost. Alright? And with this phone of mine lost, this guy is busy still asking my cousin, what's going on with cousin Yao? Like, come on, let her talk to me, what's going on? I also was very intrigued by the pursuit, like the fact that he kept pushing. I was flattered by it, type thing. And my cousin was like, hey, Karabo, Kabelo is all up in my group, busy. He keeps asking me about you and what have you. And I'm like, I'm not interested. Besides, I don't even have a phone, you know? I don't even have a phone that he can call me on, type thing. She goes and relays a message to him on some, dude, you and this thing with my cousin, I can't just give you my cousin's number. The first time she was like, I can't give you her number if she doesn't want me to give you her number, because then she's gonna feel bombarded by you. She's going to feel disrespected by the lack of respect for her wishes. 1 second, I wanted to touch up my lipstick. Anyway, she's going to feel bombarded by my disrespect of her wishes and come at me with a flying kick. So I gotta get her permission to give you her number. She gotta approve it. She gotta be cool with it, you know? So he was basically trying to get me to a point where I would agree to where I would agree for my cousin to give him my number, right? Type thing. But he kept on calling my cousin, kept on tapping on the shoulder of my cousin. He went out of his way to like basically ask my cousin, your cousin. He didn't even wait for my cousin, like, you know, waiting to bump into her somewhere and then being like, so where's Karabo, what's going on? He actively he called her, asked for permission from the boyfriend, can I call your girl so that I can get your girl to hook me up with her cousin? And he kept pushing. Like he kept pushing. So that's another thing that really got to me, right? It like massaged me a little bit. It, you know, loosened my ropes. Whatever it is that I was holding on to hard and fast, it loosened them a little bit. But then when I lost my phone, that's what took me over once and for all. Like, that's what made me just pass away. I literally just passed away. I lost my phone, and then my cousin, when he called her, my cousin was like, on top of that, phone. She doesn't have a phone. And so the only time that I'm able to contact her is if I call her on her mom's phone, or if she calls me. But otherwise, she in and of herself is an unreachable human. So umuntu lona akena phone. Like, she doesn't want you. Just accept, embrace, you know, move on. There are plenty of fishies in the ocean. And my boyfriend was like, what is this? Tell your cousin next time you talk to her that I'll buy her a phone. And just so I can talk to her. I'll buy her a phone just so I can talk to her. And she doesn't even have to pay me back. And she doesn't even have to be with me just so I can talk to her. I'll buy her a new phone so I can talk to her. And she don't gotta pay me back. And she don't even have to agree to be with me. She just gotta give me an opportunity to convince her to come and be with me instead of whoever she's with right now. And when my cousin came and told me that, I was gone. I was gone. That was it. I was like, yo, this guy. And you have first but I was so flattered. If I had no feelings for that guy on that day, there was a fire in me. I was like, he said that? For real? I was so flattered. But I still was like, that guy must relax. Desperate. He's dead. Like, tell him to chill out with the desperado stunts. But deep down inside, low key, I was like, whoa, this guy, like what, right? So I started thinking about him like all the time. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the gay guy, D1, that guy will always be the most shocking exit out of a relationship that I've ever experienced. Like, one time he came to my place and left his phone with me, by mistake, my mom's house where I was living, and left his phone by mistake with me. I don't even know who leaves their phone by mistake. Like, a phone is just something that is always on you, but nonetheless he left it with me by mistake, right? And he called me on some, babe, my phone is with you, please take care of it until next time I see you. Got public phone, back before when there were still public phones. Is that still a thing? The container the public phone in Cassis? I don't know. Whatever, I'm like, fine, I'll hold on to your phone. Here it is, and I'm holding on to this phone, right? And before the battery dies, a phone call comes through, and I'm about to tell this phone call, this individual has left their phone with me, so please call them on their sister's phone or the mom's phone. Conclude. Because, like, this phone is with me for I don't know how long. Right? So I answered the phone to basically relay that message, and there's some chick on the other side. I was like, Lomudlona's gay, Mus. He's homosexual, guys, it's clear. He's got another girl. She was like, let's say his name was Rainbow because he belonged to the rainbow community. They took our rainbow. The rainbow belongs to Jesus. Anyway, whatever. This guy, Rainbow, this chick is like, Rainbow ke monna wa ka. Ke pregnant, ke 5 months pregnant, ke ngwana Rainbow. I was like, what? I was like, I'm sorry, this is my ticket. I wasn't in love with that guy. I was feeling guilty. I knew I was gonna leave him one day, but he was my friend, and I didn't want to hurt him. But I wanted a way out somehow. I answered the phone, and some woman told me that Rainbow is her man, and that she's 5 months pregnant with Rainbow's child. I was like, like, proper, what in the world? He's gay. Like, can you be so gay that can you be so closeted as a gay man that you would hurt Imediako with another woman just to prove that you can play women even though you're in the closet? You know what convinced me that this guy was in the closet? The fact that he was struggling in that regard, if you know what I mean. Like, he was struggling to arise to the occasion, if you know what I mean. And at some point I thought, Uguti, maybe I'm not attractive. There was something wrong with the crank. Like, I don't know. What's going on? But this guy, his struggles were just like out of this world. And over and above his struggles, arriving to the occasion, he also was very effeminate. He had the mannerisms alongside struggling to get ready, So I was like, I know Mina busy, no, so busy. Keep busy, so busy, guys. Keep busy, so busy, my life thing. I was convinced I was with so busy. He was in denial about it. He also told me that many people suspected him of it in his life circle. They suspected him of being in the closet, but but that he wasn't. He claimed that he was a completely hot-blooded heterosexual man, and type thing. And I'm like, hot-blooded heterosexual guy, I'm only like 21, so basically I'm at the hottest I've ever been in my life right now, and you can't see nothing hot about me in that regard. Guy, how in the world you gonna make out with a woman for 3 hours and still not get there? I'm sorry, like, no way. I was like, that guy is in the closet. He's in the closet. And I was shocked out of my mind. I was like, you impregnated a woman? Umitisita boy. Kanjani when you struggle with me. This woman was like, Rainbow Kimunaka. Rainbow is my husband, and he is what is this? And I'm 5 months pregnant with his baby, and I was like, as in, I'm sorry, like, I don't care if this is true or not. Bottom line is, I always want it out. I don't want to be with a man that I can't do what I need to do with, and on top of that, I don't want to be with a guy that is not attracted to me. I also don't want to be with a guy that I am suspicious of, because plus I'm not in love, right? I was not in love with him, and the thing that made it impossible for me to love him was because he was so much like a girl. He was so effeminate. He was not masculine enough, and so it made it really hard for me to fall in love. Yeah, now he was a really cute guy, and that's what made me date him in the first place, but he was too much of a girl for me to fall in love with him. And so when I got that phone call, I was like, okay, you can keep your baby daddy, girl, like, proper, all the best in the future. I hope you have a healthy delivery. When he comes here to get his phone, I suppose I shall let him know that you called. Lo and behold, that same night he calls me, and I'm like, girlfriend, now in phone nails it. I got pregnant 5 months. Your girlfriend called me saying that she's 5 months pregnant with your baby, and he was like, oh, she's lying. I was like, dude, it's fine. No need to argue. It's over. Come get your phone when you're ready, but this is done. We're finished. Like, it's over. He was like, oh, I'm not a baby. I was like, guy, it's over. I'm not a baby, because he had these mannerisms and his voice was not even fully broken. I'm not a baby. Baby, come on, man. You know you're my girl. Nah, chill, dog. Yeah, I am your girl, more like your bosom buddy, BFF, but I'm not your girl in that, heterosexual romantic sense. I'm sorry. Bye. And lo and behold, this gay guy, when he came to fetch his phone, he was laughing at me at how angry I was at impregnating another woman. He ended up going on right ahead to put witchcraft on me and my future relationship and everything else that I would endure. But nonetheless, whatever, I got out of that situation. So after he pulled that stunt, because I wasn't severely broken, devastated, hurt, tormented by what happened with the gay guy, because I didn't love him, I wanted an excuse, and he gave it to me, and I got to get, do you understand? Oh no, come on, don't twitch. I wanted an excuse, I wanted to get out, and this dude gave me a perfect opportunity. He opened a window for me, Ugamba, without feeling guilty for dumping a man that was, faithful and didn't hurt me and didn't do anything to really just kind of crush my bones. And yet I'm just dumping him just because I can. Yeah, he eradicated that guilt from my doorstep. He is the one that made the first infraction, and when he committed the first infraction, I fled. I did not allow him an opportunity to apologize, nothing, because I was like, this is my chance. And indeed, he laughed at me like I was throwing my toys out the cot. Anyway, whatever. Moving on, he tried to come back, because that's the thing about a closet homosexual. The woman that they were able to get along with most and hang out with, and so therefore have a convincing relationship with, they will always try to come back to them so as to convince the world that he's straight. The one that he could really truly be a friend to, a friend with, instead of a real lover, and just because she helps his acting along. His Emmy nomination is due thanks to her, and I was helpful to this guy's Oscar performance as being a straight guy. I was not about to go giving Somizi a baby, realizing Gucci, oh snap, I'm pregnant by a man that likes men. I know that was not going to be my story. So I knew that if I had forgiven him and continued with what I was doing with him, he was going to continue to use me as an Oscar performance. And so I fled. But I also fled thinking at the back of my mind about this guy that I'm crushing on, this persistent, right, that is out there in these streets, like trying to talk to me to help me understand why I gotta be with him and not the other guy. I found that boldness, that bravado, that forceful woe. I was very drawn to it. I was attracted to it. It was a pursuit, and I loved it. I loved that he pursued me so hotly and so effervescently. and was so confident in so doing it as well, to a point where I was like, I'm sorry. And again, remember, I was dating a closet homosexual. This guy was a man, my ex, that is, or that would ultimately be the 5-year guy. He was a man in a way that this other guy wasn't, and I was robbed of a patriarchal, true, presence in my life. I was robbed of manhood because I was dating a closet homosexual for 8 to 9 months. And I was emptied or robbed from a man's voice, a man's ways, a man's walk, a man's insistence, a man who really wants a woman. Like a woman, you know what I mean? And when my ex was pursuing me like that, I was like, it's been a drought up in this monster. It's a whole drag, it's like, when my ex rocked up, it's like I was the equivalent of a girl that's been in an all-girls boarding school and seen nothing but girls for 5 years, and then next thing she goes to university, and on campus, it's like, whoa, I went crazy because my ex was a man in a way that other guy wasn't, and it worked in his favor. Coupled with how strongly he pursued me. No guy has ever pursued me like that before. Like the guy was 5 years. I guess that's why he lasted as long as he did in my life. No man has ever gone to such great lengths to get me, right? And so I finally, this time around, after I broke up with that guy, I contacted my cousin, and I was like, since I'm busy I'm all up in my girl trying to holla at me. And she's like, yeah, he is. He's still trying to get with you. I was like, you can finally give him my number. At this stage, I had gotten a new phone myself. I did not, insist that he buy me one. I bought my own phone, and with a new SIM card and everything. I was like, this is my cousin knew my number. I'd done a SIM swap, right? I was like, you can give him my number. I bought a phone type thing. It's cool. And then he called me, guys, within the same day, y'all. The same day. He called me the same day. He did not wait until the next day. I didn't wait 3 days for, no. It's like my cousin delivered the message to him. And as soon as my cousin delivered the message, I got the call. And we spoke all night. We spoke all night. First date, spent all day together. And the rest is history from there. Fell hard and fast for him. He was able to convince me to come in. So initially I didn't like him. I didn't want him for reasons that frankly I should have actually listened to my gut feeling concerning. But he was able to convince me. And that's the difference between a man that rocks up, pursues you. Initially you don't want him, but then he creates a very compelling argument. He makes it possible for you to see where he's coming from. My ex wore what I imagined a swagger, like he intrigued me, he interested me, he created in me a desire for him. I found what he did fantastic. He was phenomenal. I loved it. I don't even know what word to use. What is the English equivalent of the kaza word? He had, I don't know what in the world. I'm sorry. He convinced me. I don't know what good kaza is. He was impressive. That's it. He changed my mind. He was a kazaran guy. I found it to be incredibly vested with swagger, what he did. And so I thought it was cool. And then when we went on the first date, he was everything I guess I kind of needed. He was funny. He was all these things. He had many stories for days, and I can sit and listen to a person talk for all day if they're very interesting. He had stories for days. We never ever had awkward silences. He knew how to hold his water, his conversation. Top of that, what is this? He was the flower buying type, and that was my first time ever being with a guy like that. He was the flower, candy buying, romantic teddy bears type thing. Calling you all day, texting you all day. I was like, what more do I need? So I was parched for a season, and then I entered into a well-nourished forest full of fruits and vegetables, and I was like, I'm good, I'm chilling. And I indeed chilled in there for 5 years, but then he pulled a stunt. He went awry ultimately, but this story is not about my ex, but I'm trying to help you understand the difference between a guy that you initially don't want, and then he makes you see that actually he's very wantable, he's actually desirable, then you end up going in the sunset and marrying him, versus a guy that you find disgusting. The one at Wits, he was disgusting. Why was he disgusting? Because of how he pursued me. First of all, he kept on telling me he's got all this money. He not money, sorry, he didn't have money at the time, but he was talking about the prospects. I told you he pulled out a whole value proposition, a whole business case, for crying out loud. He hooked up a whole marketing plan with financials in it to show me the net present value of what he is today, that while he might be a lowly university student right now, he is a financial graduate. He is a BSc financial mathematics near graduate that is going to be doing his honors next year and interning at some big company, and he's going to be getting his first car then, and then he's going to pay for everything. Make sure that my parents don't got to pay for my school fees, my parents don't got to pay for my anything, because he's going to be taking care of everything. My parents are going to be, maybe not school fees, I mean, goodness, if you're interning at your first job, if it's not school fees that you're paying, but carry type thing, whatever. Like if I want to buy steers at the Matrix, then I'm going to go under heaven and buy a wacky Wednesday for myself and my girls type thing. He was promising to basically make me, he was promising to end up put madlisa. He was telling me that tomorrow he's gonna be put madlisa, and so because he's gonna be put madlisa, hey, I ought not pass him up. That was his initial strategy. And I found it tactless that he was basically throwing money at me on some, I don't care lady if you don't love me, but I can love you. It's like, have you no regard for the fact that I don't want you? Why are you not, just like with my ex-boyfriend that I just explained right now, why aren't you trying to get me to love you? Why aren't you trying to get me to look at you with regard? Why aren't you trying to get me to see where you're coming from? Like, charm the living daylights out of me. Convince me that I should be with you. Change the mind of a woman that was under normal circumstances not even trying to holler at you. She was not even trying to look at you. But now I'm looking at you because what cause? There's something that you've done that has impressed me. Do that. If at all a woman is not coming around, don't tell her that you can buy her shoes. Don't tell her that you can, you can promise her a future. Do not do a value proposition, a business case, a hard knock with some financials forecast into the future that can convince her. Why on the heaven she should be with you? Instead of you just putting your A game, like your swagger, the game, the thing that you do. Like, there was this guy, for instance, at Wits that I was very close friends with. Also ended up breaking my heart, right? He had a girlfriend type establishment thing when I was with my ex at the same time. But I ended up developing a low-key crush on him because he was, in the beginning I didn't like him because he had an attitude. He walked around like he defecated ice cream and like everybody stank. Yeah, some Congolese dude, and I didn't like him at first, but then we started working together in school on projects, assignments, because we were strangely always in the same classes every single year. Anyway, whatever, and we got close. We became really tight friends because of working together all the time. And once we became friends, then of course, he stopped having so much attitude and became a little bit of a better human being as a result. And this guy was such a gentleman, just generally, without even you being with him, that he was the kind of dude to, like, buy all the ladies Ferrero shares at the end of the year, and like pick you up, even though he's a friend. Like a guy, a guy that has a crush on you knows that you're not going to be with him because you're with somebody else, and does not therefore as a result of that pursue you. But when you ask anything, he flies from wherever he's at. He could be in a different city, and he will drive all the way from Limpopo to Johannesburg just to bail you out of something. He became that to me until I developed like a low-key crush on him. That's a guy that ultimately reveals his swagger for what it is in your girl. And if should he pursue you, you would say yes. But like, there was a time when if he pursued you, you'd be like, no, you're just a friend. Let's like kids, type setup thing. So I found to grow on me. That's the kind of person that grows on you. Thank you very much. Because he showed himself worth your while to gaze upon. Versus one that is promising you the sun, the moon, and the world to finance you, and you don't gotta love him, just let him be in your life. Random rubbish. And unfortunately my poverty has subjugated me to the tyranny of men like those. The one work of Wits not only gave me these rap sheets, right, but as time progressed, because he kept on, like, this pursuit happened for something like 3 to 4 months, guys, every single day, almost every day. There were days when I did manage to escape from him, right, and it got exhausting, and it got so bad that I wanted to tell on him. I wanted to go to the dean of the maths faculty and talk to him on some, one of your students is harassing me on campus, and I'm scared now because I feel like he might even rape me if he found me in a conspicuous enough space because of how he started to talk to me. So he started out by first tabulating how successful he's gonna be in a minute to what he would do to me physically. So he graduated from talking about money, realizing that money is not going to work on me, and then was like, okay, I'm going to try a different strategy. So I'm going to talk about my abilities in bed. He started to describe to me things like I would be walking from wherever I'm at. I'm walking really fast. He's literally running with me. And he keeps on saying things to me that are so licentious, lewd, sexually just very provocative, rhetoric, pornographic talk, describing what he's going to do to what parts of my body and how he's going to use what parts of his body to do what to me, and it was just so pornographic, the description of what he would do, that I felt like one day this guy could actually rape me if he finds me, like I said, in a conspicuous enough environment. And some days I would leave school like about 6:30, basically bordering on the sun setting. I gotta walk to Bree, across Mandela Bridge to get to the taxi so I can get to Vilgejevel. And sometimes by the time you get to the taxi rank, it's kind of dark. And there are exams that go with exams. Some of them you would write them since they would want to, they would set exams for students across different blocks, sections, right? We would write them after all lectures have finished. So 5:45, it was possible for students adverts to start writing an exam at the end of the day. Go Flower Hall or Hall 29 or whatever at the end of a day, guys. And so the students that did not have their own cars or parents picking them up, sometimes you would find them in their numbers bunching together to walk to Bree, to taxi ranks, basically. Busihubo, K7, exam that starts at 5:45, ending at 6:30. And so you are literally on Mandela Bridge when the sun is setting. And you got a Juanta. Thankfully, it's downtown Joburg, so it's still quite busy. And there are also employees at corporates around, like Liberty Life staff, whatever, that are also using taxis. So you're not alone. And other students are also in the space, but it's still dark. But, however, on campus, it's practically empty. On campus, it is practically empty. People have gone to their residences if they live on campus, or they've left, they've gone home. And so you could walk a whole stretch all by yourself as a woman until you get to the end, to the outside, where now it's bustling Johannesburg. And that is how this guy sometimes used to catch me. And I was worried that if it gets dark enough after an exam, go Hall 20, especially go Hall 29, which is all the way quite deep buried in East West Campus. Flower Hall nearly better because there was like an exit not far from it, and you could be outside very quickly. But Hall 29 was like literally buried in, like, it was deep, it was far. And you had to walk quite a distance to get to any reasonable exit out of the university from out of Hall 29. And if you're not walking with other students, you would feel really out of place. I felt so scared. I felt so scared, right? Because of that guy. He would wait, guys. He would wait for me and find me. And some days the sun was already setting, especially ka winter. I told you he did this for about a 4-month period. And I would feel like he's gonna rape me, to a point where I wanted to report him to the school, right, to his faculty, and say, like, I like this guy. I knew his name. I didn't know his surname. I was going to use nothing but his name. I knew that if I had asked for a student card to see his name and surname, he would have been suspicious. I was going to report him on some. One of your students is harassing me, and he is speaking licentious things to me, and I'm scared for my life. Please do something, like discipline him or whatever. But by the miracle of God, somehow one day it just stopped. One day it stopped. He left me alone. But I was on the verge of Gumpaisa to the faculty. It got there because he started to become very pornographic in his descriptions of what under heaven it is that he was going to do to me physically. That was a man that was desperate to be with a woman that did not want him, and it was because of his switch off conversation to a very pornographic tone that I then started to get very disgusted with him. I was grossed out, and I started to tell him, leave me alone. And one day he got to me so badly that I basically almost cried, and I think that's what made him be like, let me move, and then he left me alone. Right? After 4 whole months of struggling with this. But the pursuit was real, it was alive, and it was quite abusive. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the same thing is currently right now still pursuing me. Now that I am on all of the squalor, and I'm suffering, I'm persecuted. I got very perverted men who I consider to be lewd and licentious, using the korobela and whatnot, which is a very sexual suggestion. Korobela, whenever you afflict a woman with korobela in dreams, it will come forth as lust, sexual attraction, and in waking life you're gonna find yourself lusting after the person. If at all the spell is catching on you that has done this to you, it does not inspire love. I don't know how many times I can say this. The devil cannot manufacture love, only God. So korobela does not bring love into an ecosystem. It brings lust. It makes you sexually attracted to somebody. So when you see it for what it is literally like a sexual attack. It is a sexual abuse. It is like somebody shallowing you by telling you what they're going to do to your body, using what parts of their bodies, what they're going to use their tongue to do to what part of you. Yeah, that's how that guy used to talk to me. And in my dreams I see that kind of imagery where there's a lot of sexual activity and trying to convince me to be with someone, because that's what korobela is. It's lust. And so when you pursue a woman that heavily with that level of sexual abuse, on that day you are a rapist in the making, and you are of course unapproved by God because you're walking in licentiousness and sensuality, and you are also trying to cause a woman to fornicate with the heart, which is something that God considers a sin. You are showing her pornographic images that she has not signed up for, given that she's dreaming them and not actually clicking on the XXX site. You are forcing a woman to see sexual value in you that is not attracted to you, and on that day you become disgusting. And when a woman is that grossed out by you, and you still tell her, but I'll protect you, I'll buy you a house, I'll buy you shoes, I'll spend 10,000 rands on you in a day. You know, you have everything you want, and you expect a woman to fall in love with you that thinks that you're basically Hannibal Lecter, you're Jack the Ripper, you are Ted Bundy, you're Moses Sitole. To her, you are a creep of prolific proportions with a sexual perversion, and yet you think that one day is going to arrive when you're going to flip her and change her mind where you're concerned. That is the kind of stuff that cults are made out of, where men so desperately desire a woman that they will promise the sun and the moon to her insofar as she will agree to be with him even if he does not love her. It's cultic. It's cultic. And it is sinful against God, and it breaks the heart of God. It grieves him concerning his daughters, because he cares that we should be reciprocal in love. He cares that we should be mutually involved with somebody that we also desperately want to love, instead of it being one way and us cringing every time our husbands kiss us. When you see his naked body, you just want to vomit. You can't stomach. You feel good when you come home and he's sleeping and snoring on the couch, because it means you don't have to talk to him. It means you don't have to humor him. It means you don't have to kiss him. But the moment he wakes up, you're like, ugh. When he's turning around like a door turning on its hinges in bed, you're like, oh goodness, what if he wants to do whatever? And you just are like very unhappy, and you're always on the phone next to him in bed after the deed, because of the fact that ultimately gets in your thoughts are like far away. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want that. I know what it's like to be with a man that I don't love, that I cannot be intimate with any level of ease. And I didn't even dislike him. I just was disquieted by his gayness. He was in the closet. It wasn't the first. There was another guy that I dated that I didn't like, but it never got to relations, if you know what I mean, type thing. But there was only one guy that I had never had any passion for in my heart, that I got to a point of having relations with. And oh goodness, it was heavy. And then like I said, I did not hate this guy. I didn't dislike him. I just knew that I was wasting my time with a gay man. So now when you add absolute abhorrence, hatred, disgust, that just makes it a new game altogether. I could hang out with my gay ex because he was good people's, but for the fact that he was in the closet and I was straight and he was gay. But these guys, I don't even like them. I find them disgusting. So it adds a new nuance, a new facet to this whole discussion. It's a disgusting, grieving thing. Guys, let me move into the next part. I'm knowing our way into my exercise time now. So let me do the final part to seal this conversation, that women might be edified, to basically spot this for what it is, and also for whatever men might feel like it's enough, Nje, to drag a woman through the mud in a relationship that they don't want to be in, but you're paying their way. You are selfish. You are a narcissist on that day. You should leave her alone. You are a human being made in the image of God that some other woman will love like a fat kid loves cake. Allow yourself to be in a marriage with a woman that is reciprocating, because then on the day everybody is mutually happy. Because if you are not insistent on your wife's happiness, you are not a man of God. You are not loving a woman the way that Christ loved the church. It's that basic.